Hey, what's up? It's me, JDS4696, JBat, and today I'm going to be giving a review for Batman Under the Red Hood. And as you can see, this is like a graphic novel collection, and this collects the Under the Red Hood storyline, which occurred in the comic books from the year 2005 to 2006. Now, this is basically a tale about like this mass vigilante known as the Red Hood. And people, like, they don't really know which side he is on. Is he like a hero? Is he a villain? Because he's kind of like wiping the villains out. But at the same time, he's like aggressive and violent. Even like deadly with it. He actually kills them. Even at one point, he decapitates like this group of like mobsters. I think drug dealers. He cuts all their all their heads off or whatever. So it's like real gruesome. And it shows how violent that he was or whatever. And plus, there's a mystery behind who the character is. For some reason, like when Batman has like confrontations with him, he seems to be very familiar, and he does keep hitting like Batman. He knows that he's Bruce Wayne and stuff like that. He like, hey, I knew he was gonna do all that. Everything. It's like he knows like Bruce Wayne. Well, he knows Batman very well. And this right here is like the particular as you can see, version I have of it. Which collects the stories. Which occurred from February 2005 to April 2006. So yeah, that's basically what this is about. It's like a mass vigilante, and Batman has to find out who it is, and he does have to take him out. And along the way, he has like Tim and Drake, Robin, there to help him. Even like Nightwing, Dick Grayson to help him as well. Plus you have like other like heroes who show up in the storyline as well as too, like Superman. She pops up here and there every now and then. The Green Arrow also shows up, and Batman, he actually questions them about, like their deaths and stuff like that. I don't want to spoil it, like that. He actually questions them about their deaths and stuff like that as well, So yeah, that's what it's basically about. He has to figure out and take out this new mass vigilante known as the Red Hood, And plus, nothing that's kind of odd about him calling himself the Red Hood. It kind of harkens back to when the Joker, he was originally the Red Hood. If you go back to the origin tale of the Joker, he was actually like a criminal known as the Red Hood, and Batman was pursuing him when he fell into like this chemical stuff, and which turned him into the Joker, But he was actually eventually known as he was originally known as the Red Hood. That's what he really called himself. So yeah, this Red Hood character, he actually even takes over like the drug trades and stuff like that. So he wants to control that, and so he has like all the drug dealers and all that. He has them kind of under him, And at the same time, there's like conflicts with like the villain known as the Black Mask. He doesn't like the Red Hood. He's kind of against him, and stuff like that, Now other like heroes or villains who show up in the storyline are like Mr. Freeze. You have Deathstroke. You have I think those really like the major ones that really show up. And then you have like this other one known as Onyx. I think that's how you say her name. I'm not really sure about that one, And then the Joker himself shows up as well too, Like the Red Hood himself, he actually does have like a vendetta against the Joker, for some reason, And I kind of give you a glimpse right there of who it could be, but it's like, how could that be possible, How could it be that person is the Red Hood, Like right off the bat, I'm finna go in to say that I'm finna give a spoiler alert. It's like who the Red Hood turns out to be. In the end, the Red Hood turns out to be that it was Jason Todd, the second Robin, who was murdered like back in the storyline known as A Death in the Family. He was originally murdered by the Joker. Like the Joker beat him to death with like a crowbar, and then he exploded him. Both him and his mother, were killed like in the explosion, So off the bat, right there was actually Jason Todd, who was actually behind the Red Hood. And then it does like it touch on how how they did that, because throughout the story you still kind of suspect that it wasn't like Jason Todd. You kind of suspect that it wasn't. You really don't know. You don't believe that it's really him. But at the same time, you can always, I guess a lot of fans, especially who was reading the comics ever since then, they probably always could see that they would kind of bring him back some kind of way. But yeah, it turns out that it is Jason Todd. And it does give like an explanation of how he was like resurrected too as well, which involves like Ra's al Ghul and like Talia al Ghul. It involves him going to like the Lazarus pit, and that's how he was in some kind of way resurrected and brought back to life, as and he chose to become the Red Hood, you know. So it actually was really him, not like no copycat, no clone, like Clayface, and they even touch on that too, like the Clayface kind of like to a certain extent, you know. But it really was him that, and he actually emerged out of his coffin. He comes out of his coffin, you know, out the grave and stuff. It shows all that, you know, not to spoil it, you know. But yeah, I thought this was I thought this was okay. I didn't and this is actually like my first time like actually reading this, so I didn't really enjoy it too much, you know. I thought like the story, I felt like it was kind of like rushed, you know, and like the artwork, not to criticize like the artists and stuff like that, because I really can't even draw myself, you know, so I'm not gonna be like knocking them, but I thought the artwork was kind of like rushed too as well, and kind of like sloppy, almost like careless, you know, because there's like certain scenes where it's like a person like grappled up with their grapple or something like that, and it's like it looked kind of like off, you know. And then look right, instead of him like swinging like he's actually like standing and stuff. Yeah, it's like if they actually just stood up on their grapple and shot up while they was standing still, like swinging, like, you know, from like the rope or whatever, anything like that. So I thought that was kind of off, you know, kind of like sloppy, whatever. And plus, like, the movie stayed true to this. This was actually adapted into like a film version, which I thought was good, which was released in 2010. I remember picking that up when it first was released, and I thought that was good. Now the movie, it did have exact same sequences, like just like this tale. It was more violent. I suspected that too, cause like when the Red Hood like decapitates like someone like the drug dealers' heads or whatever, in the film, in the actual comic book, you actually get to see their heads in the bag, you know, when he's making a threat to like the other criminals and stuff like that. But in the actual movie, you didn't see their heads, you know. But in the actual comic book, you know, you actually get to see their heads, and it's like very like bloody and graphic, you know. Plus, like the scene with like Batman and like Nightwing, they're taking on like this android known as a Mazio or Mazio. That's just like how like the movie is just like how it was in the comic book, you know. Except like I noticed like in the comic book it was actually talking, like the Mazio, like a Mazio, a robot thing that it was fighting. It actually talked in the comic book, but in the movie, if I'm not mistaken, it didn't have any lines. Plus, like some of the chase scenes where they're actually chasing like Red Hood, and he's like mocking Batman, like, "Hey, Bruce, you haven't lost your touch," and all that kind of stuff like that. They kept all that from like the comic book. All that was in the movie too as well, you know. So the movie was very similar to this, you know. So I thought stuff like that was kind of cool, you know, whatever. But and I also thought like the dialogue, I thought that was like too dramatic. Like when they're like reminiscing or like talking, it's like there's moments where it's like supposed to be Alfred sharing his thoughts on like a situation, you know. It feels like it's too dramatic, you know. It's like like they're trying to be too dramatic with it, but it was still cool and decent, you know. And another thing though, and like the scenes like before like Batman questioning like Green Arrow and Superman about their deaths, you know, because they died in the comic books. You know, Superman died from I think Doomsday, and I know the Green Arrow he had died too as well, because I think his son had took over as the Green Arrow when he had died. You know, but they both were resurrected, you know. So like Batman questions them about, you know, how could Jason Todd return from the dead and stuff like that, you know. But yeah, I would give this I think I would give this just a C. I thought this was like the story felt kind of rushed. The dialogue was too dramatic, and the artwork wasn't. It felt like it was kind of like sloppy. Not to hit the artists, you know, even like the writers and stuff. You know, I'm sorry guys, you know. But I've seen like better, you know, I've read better and stuff like that, you know. But yeah, I would be giving Batman Under the Red Hood. I would give this a C. And this is a JDS 4696 or JBat. Okay, as you can see, this is the Batman Under the Red Hood book. This is how it looks. It has an image of like Batman and the Red Hood on the cover, as you can see. And also has like the Red Hood on the back too as well. And it's collected issues Batman 635 to 641, 645 to 650, and the Batman Annual issue 25. I thought it was a cool looking book, you know. It was decent, and some of the artwork in it was kind of cool as well, you know. Like some of the artwork I had in it, I thought it was cool. So yeah, this is Batman Under the Red Hood, like the collection with a graphic novel you kind of consider, you know. Now, this version I have of it was from 2011, I think it was probably like previous other versions of it before then, but the particular version I have of it is from 2011.